Alright, good morning, guys. I'm going to come in here really quick because I did not intend on doing a message today, doing a video, doing a reading. I would have liked to, but the way my spirit felt today and felt yesterday, so heavy, so empty. I just felt like I had absolutely nothing to give, and I didn't want to even put myself on the camera and exchange that bad juju with you guys, because I just wasn't in a place, and I typically don't like to affect others with my negative energy, so I will isolate in order to not, taint anyone around me until I can transmute that energy and I'm ready to come out again. That's where I was today. However, I just felt really quickly, as soon as the idea crossed my mind, because I'm sitting here with my friend talking about, and it's so ironic because, for one, the sun isn't out today. It's very gloomy. My friend's daughters are a little gloomy too. I am very, very gloomy. I really struggled last night with myself, with my shadow self, and today I was just drained over it, completely drained, empty. And I feel like I can't do a reading today because I don't have anything to give. And I pulled a card on myself this morning for advice, just because I just felt like I don't know what to do, how to move, what to think. So you're going to have to advise me. Somebody going to have to tell me what to do. And I got the Queen of Wands. And the first thing that came to mind was get up and start getting dressed, because you probably finna leave the house. And I did. But the deeper message to it was because I read something in relation to the Queen of Wands. I felt like I needed a perspective outside of what I always attribute to the card. So I was reading through one of my books, and it gave me a different perspective into the Queen of Wands. And I was sitting here with my sunstone. Where did I just put it? Having a conversation with my friend here. I haven't used this. I haven't touched this stone. I haven't touched any stone, really. This stone since last year. It was a gift to me because I was going through some hard times and I was feeling really low about myself, and somebody gave this to me. And I used to wear it in my bra to help my confidence, and then when I got better, I set it aside. And I don't really work with stones that much unless I'm doing work for somebody else, and I need to amplify the energy. And I did some work for my friend the other night to help her rest while she slept and have peace and be refreshed and renewed when she awoke, because of something she was going through. And I pulled out my big amethyst, and so stones are being incorporated again for me. And we were sitting here talking about the sunstone and the solar plexus, the color orange, the number 3, because they all fall in line. And then that Queen of Wands came into my mind because even she is a fire sign, an orange, a 3. It's on the same vibration of what we were sitting here talking about. And then what entered my mind was push through. Notice how I start off this video by saying that the sun, it's actually a very gloomy day. The sun is not out. It's not shiny. It was raining last night. I don't know if y'all actually saw that, what I tried to show y'all, but the sun isn't shining. It rained, and right now it's just a gloom, and it feels like that. Everybody's energy is like that. Except for my friend here. She's a ray of sunshine today for everybody around her. And I'm glad, because I could feed off of that, and I was able to take from the conversation we were just having, and I heard push through. And I thought, I don't feel like I have anything to give to do a reading, but what I do have maybe I can deliver this message to the collective, because I'm not a collective reading kind of girl. That's for the YouTube readers. I'm not like that. However, just because the energy today is so heavy, I thought we can't be the only ones being affected like this by the coming eclipse. The changes that are happening, we can't be the only one being affected by this. And maybe somebody else needs to hear push through. Maybe somebody else needs to be encouraged, like I needed to be encouraged this morning.
Let me get you a lighter.
Yeah, that ain't gonna work. I don't know what I did with the lighter I brought. Okay. So I just really quick, I'm sorry, Natasha. I just wanted to pull one tarot card, one oracle card, for whomever is in earshot of this video, because I don't believe in doing collectives. I don't believe in doing like zodiac readings. I don't do that, because that's playing with people. Come to me if you want me to talk about you, and we can talk about you and what's going on with you. But I don't like the collective thing. But if I want to just send a general message from the heavens to inhabitants of earth, just because I feel like somebody else besides me needed to hear push through. Even if you don't feel like you have anything to give today, you don't have to give. Just do enough to push through. You don't need to do more than that, because as soon as you just say, despite the funk that I'm in, I'm gonna just get up. I'm gonna just put my feet on the floor. Even if my eyes are closed, I'm just gonna put my feet on the floor and see what happens. That's what push through means. And don't worry about overexerting, trying to do too much, because for some of us, getting out of bed today, putting on clothes, and having the energy to get out of the house and actually be productive, because we know we still have to live, was enough energy. And so don't overdo it, but do enough to push through. This palo is for us. This is for us. This is for us. I've said before that I prefer palo over sage, because sage will get rid. It's supposed to get rid of things, but what after that? I like to be uplifted. I like my spirits uplifted. Uplifting your spirits will make raising your vibration will make even the darkest of the darkest flee. So I don't need to just kick them out. I want to raise the vibration. That'll kick them out, and it'll benefit me. So let's bask in that Palo Santo. Just bask in it for a moment. Olodumare. Erzuli Dantor. Baba Legba. To my ancestors, to my ancestral spirits, I salute you this morning. What can I say to the people that will penetrate their spirit on this day in a positive way? What message from the divine can I pull down for the people that hear my voice today? I'm going to start with the oracle. Because sometimes, you know, everybody needs somebody to uplift you. And I had somebody to do that for me this morning. And so now I'm going to pass that energy along while I have it. because I may be in a funk again in 20 minutes. But while I have it to give, let me give something. Every time I feel empty, I look for something to give, because that's the only time I feel like when I have nothing and I feel worthless, that's the only way I cannot feel so empty, is if I give something. And how does that make sense? When you feel empty, you look for something to give. That's the only way. I don't know if y'all just heard my stomach growl, but but I don't know how that makes sense, but it's how I operate. It's the only way I can survive my emptiness, because it hits deep for me. And the only way I can get through it, the only way I can push through, is by doing something for somebody. Focusing, taking my mind off of me, saying like, la, 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 I don't hear you, I don't hear you, because I'm too busy focusing on somebody else. This has always been the way I cope. So let me, that's Donkey, guys.
And he's probably saying that's not what it is. That's your
Y'all, Donkey is going in. So I am on a farm. There are chickens, goats, turkeys, guineas, cows, wagyu cows, donkey, dogs, you name it. Donkey, Donkey is looking dead at me. Hey, boo.
He's giving you love.
Donkey is speaking to y'all, because Donkey never just goes in like that. Usually he just be like, oh,
hey,
and stop. But Donkey was like, no, put me on the video.
Donkey was trying to deliver your message.
I'm gonna do it. Yes, Donkey has something to say from spirit. I hear you, Donkey. I'm introduce y'all to my friends one day. I don't feel like doing it right now, but Donkey's standing there looking dead at me.
Oh, Donkey.
With that being said, let's see. South Node, don't let your past hold you back. The eclipse is happening for me. Because my South Node is in Libra. My Sun is in Libra. My Venus is in Libra. And the eclipse is happening in Libra on the 14th or the 28th. Is it Aries on the 14th and Libra on the 28th? Aries on the 28th, Libra on the 14th. 7 days after my birthday. My South Node is in Libra. Don't let your past hold you back. That's the Oracle. This message is for me. Your commitment is being tested. This message is definitely for me, but I'm hoping that I'm not the only one that's going to benefit from this. Don't let your past hold you back. And then I'm going to get a tarot card to round that out, so I can really go in and get the full message of what's being said here. All right, give me a tarot card to go with that, and then let's talk. And maybe the message is me using myself, my transparency, as a lesson for you guys. I always thought about reading myself before for you guys. Since I read other people, it's only right to do the same thing to yourself. And I don't mind reading myself. Are you gonna ride with me? What time are you leaving? Right now?
Yeah, 5 minutes or so. Not too far.
Where you
The old
going?
forest. Just to walk through, take a video.
Oh, no, I'm gonna stay. Oh, did you need me to go with you? Okay, no, I'm gonna stay. All right. Justice. Libra. Me. You. Us. Let's talk, you guys. The Tower. All right, the eclipse. The eclipse. I am absolutely supposed to share with you guys what I'm going through, what I went through last night, and how I got through it. That's what's on the bottom of the deck. My message today is to spill my own tea. Because when you read other people and you spill their tea, sometimes you gotta keep that same energy with yourself. And that's what makes me a G out here. Okay? That's what makes me the real deal Holyfield out here. I'm not putting on for the camera. I'm not putting on for monetization. I'm literally sitting in the country on a farm. I don't do this often enough to be monetized. I don't even have enough subscribers to be monetized. You have to be, I can't even do a live yet on on YouTube because I don't even have enough subscribers for that. So it ain't for that. I ain't one of them. This is what you guys get with me. This is who I am. This card always comes out when I'm standing correct and erect and doing the right thing for what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm taking accountability for myself as a Libra. And accountability is something I do very well with. So much so that I'm overly critical of myself. Which brings me to this message and the tea that I'm supposed to spill about myself. All right, the Tower card. This is the eclipse working on me, you guys. Today, the message is to use myself as an example, as a teachable moment. If any of you are familiar with some of my older videos, I used to do a healing water series where I used myself and my birth chart, my astrological chart, to teach you guys lessons. I would use the my chart and how those transits manifested in my life to teach astrology, and also to teach you guys how I heal, because I've had a very, very, very traumatic life. It's been full of pain. I've had good moments. I've had good moments. I have bad moments. A lot of bad moments. A lot more bad moments. A lot of trauma. And I heal. That's something that has always been natural to me because of the pain. How could I live to see 36 in a couple of weeks, in a week and a half? How could I have made it to 36 years old, to 35, to be sitting here if I did not have the propensity to try to heal? My father, I was born and raised in a two-parent household up until 1993. I was about 6 or 7, and my father came home from, went to school one morning with being dropped off by my daddy because my mom was at work. My daddy dropped me off. My mom picked us up, me and my 2 sisters. We get home. She checks the answering machine. It's my grandmother, my father's mother. She's leaving a message saying that, Brenda, they got him. Now, I'm listening to the answering machine with my mama standing right by her, and I see her. I see her spirit collapse. She didn't fall to the floor, but I literally saw her spirit collapse. She herded us back to the car. We like, what's going on? I'm like, what's going on? We on the way to my other grandmother's house, my maternal grandmother's house that lived right around the corner. I'm watching my mother cry the whole way there, not knowing what's going on. We get there. My grandmother opens us with welcome, opens us at the door. We sit down. We're watching the news. And there's my daddy on the news. They talking about attempted murder. They're talking about conspiracy. They're talking about my daddy's relatives, his cousins. We got a big family. We're a close family. We lit. What is going on? So as a 7-year-old, all I know is that I don't know what's going on, but my daddy is on the news and they saying stuff like bad stuff. And I just asked my mama, so does that mean daddy ain't coming home? And she can't talk and nobody can really answer me because everybody is falling apart. And I got up and I ran in the room, closed the door, jumped into the bed and put the covers over my head, because at that moment, it's too much trauma on my little mind, on my little psyche. And that is where my initial trauma set in. Do not let your past hold you back, South Node. That is where my first life-altering trauma set in. And the first 7 years of a child's life are their foundational period. Those are critical because the child is coming into themselves. It's critical that the child not experience that kind of trauma within the first 7 years, because it can alter their foundation. Being touched on at school by the little boys wasn't my first trauma, because I can come home and tell my daddy, and he handled it. He handled it. This, though, was my first trauma. And fast forward, because I'm not going to go through all of that, it's too gloomy. Fast forward to my Saturn return when I am 26, 27, 2016. My father's out of prison, but he chooses to walk out of my life again. I just lost a job that meant the world to me because it was my first career in HR job. I was so proud. And on top of that, my marriage was starting to change. My husband was starting to change. When I lost my job, I felt like he became resentful because he then had to do everything, and I was no longer contributing like I always have. And that's never been an issue for me because I'm a working girl. I'm a very ambitious girl, but it's like he became resentful that he had to provide. My marriage started to change. My life was falling apart, and I did not want to live. Transparency moment. My first time trying to commit suicide was when I was 10 years old. I took a jump rope and a little pink Barbie chair, and I told my sisters, I am going to tie this jump rope around my neck, and when I say kick, when I do it, kick the chair from up under me. Y'all, why my sister kicked the chair from up under me for real? She did. I ain't even get to tell her to do it. As soon as I tied that jump rope around my neck, she kicked that chair right from up under me. She wanted me out of here. Of course, it didn't work. The jump rope came apart. I never forget the fact that she did it, though. But funny moment, but not funny moment. But I was a little girl when I felt the first time that I couldn't do this anymore. And that wasn't the last time. But as when my Saturn return was happening and I was going through it, I just didn't know how I was going to get to the other side. And I didn't think I could. I didn't have the strength to do it. Everything about my life, everything that I knew was falling apart again. Like when I was 7, which is your first 7 years, your first experience with Saturn. Your first Saturn return is around that time. So here I am again in the same place that I was at 27 that I was when I was about to be 7, when I was 7. And that didn't pass over my mind. I didn't not acknowledge what was going on, full circle here. And so I decided that I'm going to use the skills that I have now, that I've accumulated now throughout my life at 20, my spiritual skills. Because, you guys, my spirituality has been the foundation of my life. It's been the only reason that I survive. Because I felt like the only reason I'm alive is to help somebody else, is to serve, Sun in the 6th house, to be of service to other people. It's how I do readings. It's how I do juju for others now. Because I was born very aware of my inner spiritual world. More aware of my inner spiritual world than my outer world. It's been the only thing that I've lived for. This, what I'm doing now, you guys, is the only reason that I live, is to continue finding ways to pour out into the collective. It's what I live for. It's been the only reason. I literally told God in a hospital bed when I was 12, I will serve your people if you take care of me in return and allow me to have a peaceful death and give up my own ghost. That's it. That's all I ever asked God for. And wisdom. Like Solomon, I didn't ask for money or riches. I asked for wisdom. And be careful what you ask for, because wisdom is gained the hard way. You don't become this the easy way. You don't become who I am today the easy way. And that ain't a flex. It is, but it ain't. Because you don't know. You don't know what's hiding behind this. You have no idea what it took for me to get here, what it takes for me to maintain this. So I decided when my Saturn return happened, I'm going to use my spiritual know-how to figure out how to not let my past hold me back. That's exactly what I said. And you guys want to know what happened? Divorce. It was the most traumatic thing that happened to me up until after my father left, because my marriage meant something to me. I'm a very, very loyal person. Libra sun, justice. Taurus rising. Taurus is, the bulls are loyal to a fault. Very, very loyal. And even though I wasn't necessarily fulfilled in my marriage, I was going to see it through because I committed to it. And I always told my husband that I'll never leave. There's nothing that I can't get through. The only way that I'll leave is if you also want to leave. Because the only way that we can work is if we both want to. And I'll never hold anybody hostage. If you ever told me that you wanted to leave, I wouldn't beg you to stay. And that's how my marriage ended. My husband came home one day out of the blue after he had already checked out. He had checked out a year before that. I practically lived alone by that time because he was never around. It's like he abhorred being home and being around me. Just came home one day and didn't want to get in the bed, didn't want to sleep in the bed, slept on the couch. I got from the bed on the couch to try to sleep with my husband. He would get off the couch, go in the room. I'm like, what the hell? You know, why are you doing this? Why don't you want to be around with me? I get off the couch, go in the room, put my arms around him. He'd get up, go back on the couch. So now I'm crying in the room by myself. Because it's like, what am I doing wrong? I literally met him at the door, butt booty naked. And I go on the couch and I say, Terry, please, talk to me. Talk to me. What is going on? And he just cold and coolly looked ahead, took a deep breath and said, I don't know if I could do this anymore. I don't know if I want to be married anymore. I think I need time, space to find myself. You should probably go spend some time with your mama. This was like 12 years into our relationship. 7 years married, 12 years together. I was like, what are you talking about? This is me. This is Dina. Like, you know, what do you mean? Like, we can get through anything. But not that. And true to my word, after I begged and pleaded for my husband to not do this, and I tried to give him sex because I'm good at it. And as I was doing it, he let me. And then when we were finished, he said, I hope you don't think this changes anything. This is a man that I've been with since I was 18 years old. And by now I was 31. And Just like when I was 7 and I couldn't understand why my daddy didn't choose me, because that's what I felt after the circumstances of why he ended up where he ended up. I felt like you didn't think about coming home to me. You never thought about what if I lose Dina? And when I felt like in my mind as a child, when I told myself those things and I concluded that he didn't, I concluded that I perceived that as rejection, because I adored my daddy. I adored my father as his firstborn girl. And I thought I was the apple of his eye. And I thought I meant something to him. And when he went to prison and he got out and chose to not be a part of my life, the rejection solidified everything for me. And I felt like everything that I thought growing up about myself was right. Because how could I love myself when my father doesn't? When he would tell me he loved me, treat me like a little princess, but then make a decision that he knew could take him away from me, and I wasn't enough to make him stay. I relived that when my husband said those things. And I didn't have any choice but to oblige, because the only thing that could ever make me leave my marriage was my husband not wanting to be married to me anymore. That's what made me leave my marriage. And God knew that that's what it would take, because that marriage wasn't healthy and conducive to the woman that I become anymore. My husband had every right to feel like if he didn't want to be married anymore, he didn't have to be. Now, what I found out afterwards, the real reasons, that was hurtful, but at the same time, I chose my dignity. I chose my self-respect, because I met a woman that night that my husband told me that. After he said that, I went to the corner store to get some peanut M&Ms. I barely remember it. All I remember was disassociating and needing peanut M&Ms. My eyes were this big. My hair was all over my head. I looked a mess. I had lost so much weight within that year because I was so depressed. And I met this woman. I don't know. She was walking out of the dollar store as I was walking in, and I never saw that lady leave. I never heard a car leave the parking lot, because when I walked up to the Dollar General, there was only one car there, and it was nighttime. They were about to close. And I figured it belonged to the person who was closing the store. There was no other cars in that parking lot, and she walked out with stuff, with a buggy, and she stopped me. And I remember that clear as day. She said, "Can I talk to you?" And I didn't have anything in me to even say yes. I just stood there and listened to this lady read my soul. And she told me, "You are special." And I don't know what your religion is or your relationship with God is, but you have always been special. You've always had a very special purpose. And that's why your life has been the way it's been. But now, you are getting ready to embark on a new journey. And the people that are around you now can't go where you're going. The things that you do now, you can't do where you're going. The places that you go now, you can no longer go. And she said some other things to me that my soul remembers, but I was a shell of myself at that moment. And she hugged me. And she told me everything was going to be okay and that God loved me. And he always did, because I was special to him. And I always knew I was when I was a little girl. And how could she know that? How could she know that my first memories in my life are my dreams and the conversations that I had with spiritual entities who gave me their names and told me things and treated me like I was a student? How could she know that? Because that's something I never told. Because who would believe me? People already think I'm crazy. And the next day when my husband went to work, I was there. When he came home from work, I was not. I quietly packed my things and I left on a midnight train. Literally. This happened in 2019, and this triggered a deep dark shadow of the night for me, because I had to go back to the 7-year-old Dina and deal with that trauma, because I said, if I'm going to heal, I'm going to have to uproot the root of my trauma. I'm not going to deal with the symptoms, because this situation just came full circle. It's like I'm reliving my childhood trauma, and the only way I can stop it from happening again is if I dig it up by its root. So I have to deal with 7-year-old Dina. And I ended up in my childhood home, which is my grandparents' home, the same house that I was in when I got the news about my dad, and I ran into the room, got in the bed and pulled the covers over my head. That became my room again. It never was my room. It's just my grandparents' house back then, but it's our house now, my mother's house, and then it will become me and my sister's house when she goes. But I ended up in that room where that initial trauma set in all over again when it came full circle. And I was back in that place. And at night in the bed, when I was hurting so bad, there's a mirror on my headboard. And in order to face the pain when I was crying and falling apart and reliving those memories that were telling me that I didn't want to live, I would force myself to look myself in the mirror as I was crying, falling apart, and having those thoughts. I would force myself to look at myself. Look at myself. This was a form of mirror magic that I didn't even know I was doing. I've always done juju unknowingly. Now I understand. And I would force myself to look in my own eyes and not even look away at the pain, at what I saw. Whatever came up, I forced myself to not break my glance. That was me forcing myself to deal and not run and not hide. Because that's what you got to do to uproot it. When you're going through your dark night of the soul, it is akin to Inanna's descent. Google it, read the book. The story of Ishtar, the queen of heaven, having to strip herself naked and descend from her heavenly throne into the underworld where her sister rules. Consider that her shadow self, her counterpart. And she had to walk through hell and be crucified by her own demons until she was rescued and restored. And the only reason she was rescued is because she was a goddess and beloved by a very powerful God who would not suffer her to perish in hell, because she even had the guts and the bravery to walk through the valley of the shadow of death and strip herself out of all of her heavenly royal garb. That was a bad bitch, to face her own demons and let them take her life and come out like the phoenix, naked, out of the ashes, out of the flame, even more powerful than before, because you've defeated the demons, you've defeated the devil, you've defeated your own devil and your own hell. So I forced myself to heal, and none of it was easy, because it took a lot of accountability. It took a lot of self-awareness and checking myself. And that's easy for me to do. But a part of checking myself was knowing that I was crucifying myself for my whole life for things that I never was meant to judge myself for, that I was never meant to attribute to my own self-worth. Other people's actions, being molested and punishing yourself for it for your whole life, because you're so unlovable and so unworthy that's why God didn't love you enough to protect you. That's why people feel that they can treat you that way, because you don't deserve anything better. These were things I told myself. Nobody had to. I did. So facing myself was me facing my hell, my demons. And I don't know a lot of people who can do that. Taking accountability. I don't know a lot of people who can do that. I don't know a lot of people who can look their pain in the face. It's like being raped and having a baby and choosing or getting pregnant by your rapist. Not a lot of people can choose to have that baby and look at that trauma all over again and not hold the child accountable for it. So that healing journey started for me at 2019, and I've come a very long way. However, last night I was triggered. I got triggered because I am facing another moment of accountability, another aha moment, another full circle moment, only this time I chose to handle it differently. And the way I am having to learn this lesson, it's draining me of everything, which is why I didn't have any energy to give any morning. I feel like I sucked all the energy out of the day because it took everything. It took everything, all of the strength that I could muster up to choose to handle this differently based on not wanting to let my past hold me back. Yeah, because I instantly thought, when I got triggered last night, I saw how this situation has happened twice in my life, just different scenarios. And I saw that each time I handled it the way that I thought was right, I bled in the end. And for me, doing it this way is the way I felt like it's not right. I feel like it was the unjust way to do it. I felt like I was having to accept an injustice for a bigger picture. And that's true. However, What I was also told last night when I had to face myself, because I did, when I was falling apart, I faced myself. And out of every injustice that you feel, there is a moment where you can accept some kind of accountability. A lesson to be learned in every situation, even if you are a perceived victim. And what I did was I looked at the situation and how I handled it in the past and why I felt like I'm being forced to take an L for a bigger picture, a bottom line. And you know, I was told, for where you're going, you have to pick and choose your battles to win the war. Imagine being in politics, and I'm not saying that I'm going to be in politics, but I am a businesswoman. I'm an entrepreneur, and I also am a realtor. And I plan on my plans that I'm working towards are big. I'm very ambitious, not power hungry in a sense of accumulating power, but in order to do the things that I want to do for the world and for my legacy, it requires you to be around power players. It requires you to be savvy. You want to build wealth, you want to be a wealthy entrepreneur and business person, you have to be savvy. You have to know how to play the game. And this is what that lesson was for me. Your dreams aren't out of reach. You've done the work, the healing work, and that is a part of what you needed to do as well to get to where you're trying to go. In order to get there, you're going to have to learn to play the game, Adina. For the bigger picture, some battles you can fight with your fists. Some battles, though, you can fight with your mind. Being strategic, being cunning. And as a Libra, isn't that what they say about us? They call us fake and phony and strategic. I mean, fake and phony, but I just consider it strategic. They call us people pleasers. I consider it networking with a purpose. So, with that being said, the message today is that an eclipse is coming in Libra and in Aries. And I am a Libra sun and an Aries moon. My Libra sun, Venus in Libra, South Node in Libra. South Node is in Libra in my 6th house, my house of service, and also the house of health, ceremonial magic, and agriculture. And I'm here on a farm. Not doing juju per se, but doing a form of juju on myself. This is healing work. In the eclipse shadow period on the Libra and Aries axis. And I'm a Taurus ascendant with a Venus in Libra. So my sun, moon, and ascendant are all being activated right now. And when that happens, when I'm being triggered, I always find a way to give to myself. So with that being said, the lessons I learned last night was to bite the bullet in order to win the war. And I had to do that last night, but it took a lot out of me because it made me feel like I had to lie down on a sword and let somebody that I felt like was unjust win so that I can get what I need out of the situation. And then when it's over, it'll be over. But That was a lesson for me because this experience, this scenario has happened twice before, and I lost doing what I felt was right by myself. But I lost in the end because I lost the bottom line and the bigger picture. I might have felt better about myself, but at the end of the day, I lost those wars. And this time I chose to move in the way that I felt betrayed me. And now I can only hope that the outcome, because this just is happening. So I can only hope that the outcome is opposite from what it's been in the past. I'm going to clarify why I got this justice, and then I'm going to log off. Push through, you guys. If you are walking through your own dark night of the soul, going through your own Saturn return, dealing with your own shadow self right now, don't retreat. Pull your strength from me right now. Here, have some of my strength, because I mustered up enough to give to you guys. I did this video while I had the strength to give. Take some of my strength that I have right now and push through. When you want to retreat the most is when you go in. And it hurts. And it's hard. And it hurts. And it's hard. And it hurts. But that's how you know you're doing the right thing. I'm sorry to say it that way. I'm sorry to say that it's going to hurt. But on the other side is victory. And this message is also that I am doing the right thing by the lesson I'm supposed to learn. Justice, you have learned. This to me is better than the world card in this moment, because I still have to close it out. So it's not the world card. It's not the world card until this situation is tied up and done. And it's a business situation. But this tells me I've won. The lesson, the emotional lesson for me, even through my disappointment, feeling like I have nothing to give. This would have been me delivering one of my usual messages, full of life to give. When I had nothing to give, I chose to do this message for the collective. And this was the right thing to do, which is why I say the message overall is to push through. And I'm giving you guys sound advice based on what I went through, what I had to go through. My own dark night of the soul, my own losses, what I've learned from them, the lessons I've refused to learn in the past by doing things the way I thought was right and sound emotionally, but I lost everything in the end. I did. Job. Yeah, it's talking about the drama at my job. Okay. All right. One more card for the collective and for myself to round out this message. Since I'm reading myself for you guys, this is telling me, good job. Keep up the good work. Keep at it. This is what you are supposed to be doing. This is the task that we were telling you that you were supposed to do. And Actually, the only reason that I can receive this message is because I'm reading myself like I would read someone else. Because when I'm at home alone reading myself, I can never receive these messages because I'm too overly critical. So the only way that I could have received this message for myself is to deliver it to you as if I'm reading someone else, but I'm really reading myself. Through all of my pain, through all of my losses, and in my spirit, I hear we saw it. Look, we see it and we saw it. You didn't think we were there and that we would do anything and that we didn't have your back and that you were left and abandoned. And this is what I said last night. I was telling myself opposite things of what I told myself when I was 7. I was telling myself that I was left alone and all I had was myself, and that from this moment on I would never do anything again to betray myself because I'm all I have. I felt abandoned by the spirits and by God, even last night, you guys. Even last night, which is why I didn't want to get on this video today and try to deliver a reading and a spiritual message when I know just last night I lost my faith. Just last night I lost my faith. I did. Truth Serum, I did. And that's why I was like, I'm not even going to try to get on here and deliver no message because I have nothing to give. That's what I meant by I have nothing to give. They hurt me. Even when I don't, that's what they're saying now. We heard you. We hear you. We always do. You think we don't hear your messages? You think you're in this alone and we would leave you? After you, out of your charitable heart, said at a young child, when you were in a chronic condition in the hospital, in the ICU with chronic asthma, and you had that conversation when you were 12 with God because you weren't sure if you were going to live, because your body wouldn't even allow you to breathe. And I was making my peace with God in that moment. And that's when I said, if I live, I'll serve your people. I will. I knew that spiritually, I was going to be of use to somebody. I knew that as a little girl. As long as you take care of me. I didn't want to be in poverty. After my father left, we struggled. And I watched my mother. Our life changed. And I was so afraid of spending the rest of my life not knowing how I was going to survive financially. Because I watched my mother struggle after my father went away. And it's not it's not the circumstances I was born into. And since the situation that I am going through now that is challenging me, I am having to bite the bullet so I can close. So I can close on a deal and pay my bills. When inside, I don't want to work with this client anymore. But for the bigger picture, so that I can adult, I gotta do it. But If I had of said what I wanted to say to these clients, I would have lost the contract with them. I would not be able to pay my bills. This is why I'm saying that this is better than the world card for me. And I don't have the world card because it's not closed yet. It's not done. I'll only get the world card when this lesson is learned and it's all done. But this just means that I did the right thing last night by avoiding conflict. That would have cost me to lose my coin. Look, y'all, I did the right thing. And since this is a major arcana, along with saying don't let your past hold you back, this is just as equivalent to me as the world card. So you guys push through. I'll do a follow-up when it's all said and done, a follow-up reading so I can show you what the spirits say about it. I plan on getting the world card in that reading when it's all said and done, because that means successfully completed, and I'll only do that when the deal is closed. Hopefully we can get this thing closed. My client is extending their contract so that we can relist and start fresh. Oh, look. I just saw the world card. But it will be a bigger lesson once it's done and it's closed, and I have successfully closed out that chapter and that lesson, and I never have to repeat it. Then I'll pull cards on me again to see what the spirits say from the spiritual perspective about that scenario and the overall lesson. I will be able to share with you guys again when it's over what came of the situation. And I'm hoping that, yes, I can't do it until I'm done and I'm out of this contract with this person. And hopefully this once it's done, moved on, and I walk away from them, I can share what I learned and what I got from this situation. Yes, 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 yes. Yes, yes, yes. All right, you guys. Well, I don't know how to round this message out, because really, I just got this bright idea to do it, and then I followed the bright idea while I had the energy to give. And I hope that whoever sees this understands the message that's being sent by my transparency. Take from me today. Take freely from me today. Take freely from me. If you need help getting through, watch this video and suck some of the energy that I have. It's okay. I'm around reinforcements today. My friend says she has enough sunshine to carry me today. And she gave me enough to be able to do an hour-long video for you guys, reading myself and sharing with you my own lesson and why I am telling you to push through. I'm not telling you because it's just like, oh, here's a message for the collective, and you know, it's not that. Let me tell you why I can tell you to push through. Let me tell you why I'm qualified to tell you this. Let me tell you why I'm qualified to read. Why I'm not on here just selling y'all bullshit so that I can be a YouTube tarot reader. I don't give a fuck about that. This ain't my job. I do real estate. I'm an entrepreneur. This, though, is my service. This channel is my service. Now, I would love to be able to do readings for you guys when you need them, because that is also my job. So if you do want to see me, you can email me at beyondtheveiladina@gmail.com, and we will schedule a consultation. And for an hour and $50, we discuss whatever is on your soul, whatever is on your heart, and we get to the bottom of it. And then, from what we come up with in that consultation reading, if there's a solution that I can give you that requires my hands to be involved, we'll talk there. But I highly recommend that you do not approach me if you are not serious about seeking help and answers from the divine, because I'm not a tarot reader. I'm a medium. I talk to spirits. The cards are my glasses, but I don't need them. I use them. They're a tool. I'm a surgeon. I'm a doctor. They're a tool that I use. So unless you are ready to actually have solutions and results, don't come here. Don't come here if you do not want the truth, because I can only tell you what the spirits say. And I typically don't mince words. I do find a nice sugary way to give certain messages if they're harsh sometimes, but I'm never going to bullshit you. I'm never going to sell you a dream. I had this one girl come to me, and I read her, and I gave her what was in front of me. And she argued me down based on the fact that she had been watching collectives on YouTube, and all those other readers were telling her something different. Oh, the collective says rainbow and sunshine and prosperity and abundance and love. And I'm looking at the five of wands. I'm looking at the Five of Wands. Ain't nothing about that card. Love, abundance, prosperity. And she was talking about a situation that she was in, a bad situation. And I gave her the truth, but she wanted to argue me down because the collective she'd been watching that are collectives, they're going to say something that is a one size fits all. It would apply to anybody. If I were to say, the card said that somebody is watching you as we speak. The card said somebody is watching you on social media. First of all, you guys are watching this video. Second of all, everybody is on social media. Life is social media now. Somebody is probably on your social media. Somebody's probably scrolling Facebook right now, and you just so happen to pop up. Or Instagram right now, one of your posts popped up. Spirit tells me, because pretend this is a Libra Libra reading. You're overwhelmed right now. You're struggling financially, trying to make ends meet. For some Libra in the world, that will be happening. But that doesn't mean it's everyone. And so that's the thing. So I'm reading what is coming up for her, and she's arguing with me because the collectives that she's reading is giving her rainbows and sunshine. And to be honest, these readers on social media and on YouTube and stuff, that's what the people like to hear. That's what brings in the viewers. Everybody wants to hear that they have money coming. Everybody wants to know that they have love coming. And if you tell them that, they're going to want to tune in because you're telling them something they want to hear. I'm going to tell you, based on what you come to me for, what the spirits say. I'm going to read your cards. I'm going to look at your chart. I'm going to compare the two. I'm going to listen to the spirits. And we're going to talk. So, if I'm your cup of tea and you need somebody, and you've been looking around and soliciting a lot of people, and nobody is able to really affect you, give you the answers that you need. I can probably give them to you. I'm telling you, I do it every day. Every day. My friend that was just here, I'm doing surgery on her as we speak. We are doing healing work as we speak. So I have to keep my eyes on her. I have to keep my hands on her while we're going through this process, and I'm constantly having to check in with her. She has to write down her dreams, and I have to, interpret them and things like that, so I know what procedure, what surgery, what medicine to prescribe next. And I typically I do a reading on her often as we're going through this. I can tell if she's asleep. I can tell if she just woke up. I can tell if she finna call me. And she'll call me and be like, I just woke up, da-da-da. And I'll be like, I know, it's okay. So we'll talk. We'll get to the bottom of things if that's what you need. And just know that I'm transparent enough to put myself on blast. To prove to you guys that the cards don't lie. I pulled cards and I literally explained how I read myself. I read myself. I didn't just make that up to go along with what I saw on the cards. They literally read me. Literally read me. There's an eclipse happening, tap dancing right now on my head. My sun, moon, and an ascendant. My south node is in Libra. The first eclipse is coming up in Libra right now. So, with that being said, you guys, take some more energy. I'm going to try to light this Palo. I'm going to roll up so I can calm my nerves. And if you need me, I'm here. If you need to watch this video because you need to push through and you need to see somebody else actively pushing through it, watch the video. Email me. We can talk. We can talk through email. It don't even have to be no reading. I don't think you'll be asking me questions that come up in a reading, and I'm just don't do that. But here, have some. This is for you. Sniff it in. I know you can smell it. Meditate on it and let it calm your spirit. Let it calm your spirit. Let it calm your spirit, and then let this sunstone empower you to push through. Keep going. Even if all you can do today is just get through the day. Push through. Ashe and amen. I love you. And so do the animals. And so does Donkey, who is eating right now.